Hey guys, hope you guys like that intro with the music. I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep it that way from now on. This is my first video that I'm editing with Camtasia 7. I mean, no, not Camtasia 7, Camtasia Studio 7. Sorry, I used Cam Studio to record my battles before and Windows Movie Maker. I decided that I should really just step it up and do something a lot cooler, which pretty much is why I'm using Camtasia. It's a bit harder to use, but pretty much the end result is a lot more polished. It's much easier to manipulate what I need. I can change settings pretty easily, whereas if I touched anything with Windows Movie Maker it would just blow up. But into the battle now. I see I've talked a little bit too long. I start off with Goodyear. He goes for the Thunderbolt with his lead. I tricked it into I choice scarfed it, and I received its choice specs in return. I go into static on the switch into his fortress. I go for the fire punch. It brings it down to mid-yellow. It explodes. Electivire is pretty much useless for the rest of this battle because he is fainted. But I mean, he put a pretty big dent into the fortress right there. Not too worried about it, although Electivire probably could have helped me out later. I go back into Goodyear. I forget that I'm not as fast because I tricked the choice scarf already, so I know I cannot live through this Thunderbolt, which sucks, because if I was faster I would have been able to Destiny Bond it away, because this Starmie was a pretty big issue this battle. He Thunderbolts me. I go for the Thunder Wave, hoping to get some damage on it before it switches out, because it has natural cure, which really sucks. Because one thing this team pretty much relies on is Parahacks, or at least this team right now. I go for the Air Slash because I know I'm faster. I'm also hoping for the flinches, but it gets Parahacks naturally. He switches on this turn, I believe. Yes. Switches into Dreadnought the Tyranitar. This guy was a little troublesome. One, because it actually absorbed my Aura Sphere here in the next turn pretty darn well. I expected to pretty much 2-HKO it with an Air Slash on the first turn and then an Aura Sphere on the second, but it lives it with quite a bit of HP left and pretty much just takes me out. I wasn't predicting a Tyranitar that could stand through that. He goes for the Stone Edge, takes me out. Super effective, of course. I go into Infernape in order to protect, I use Grass Knot just because of type coverage against what I've already seen, especially if you switch into Starmie expecting like a fighting type move. He goes back into Starmie. I know he's choiced, so whatever he chooses is going to be pretty much what he uses. He goes for the Psychic. It's neutrally effective to Suicune, so it's not that bad. Sandstorm damage comes in. I'm still at above half. I'd say that's around a third. I switch out knowing that he's choiced into Psychic. I just wanted to bait the move, knowing it's not very effective to Heatran, and I'd be able to live through the next attack. I go for the Earth Power. It hits this Blissey pretty hard, but I mean, it's a Blissey, so it's not going to do much. Sandstorm damage comes in. He heals that off real fast. I taunt it so it can't Thunder Wave me this turn. I think I went for a Magma Storm but missed here, or I switched out. Sorry, I'm a little bit ahead of myself here. I tend to do that sometimes. And here comes Leviathan, the Gyarados. Seriously, ever notice how everybody names their Gyarados or Milotic Leviathan? Let's get some originality out here, people, because honestly, it's getting old. He gets Magma Stormed, which means he is trapped for a few turns now. He cannot switch out, meaning that meaning that his life orb, which we'll see in a second, plus sandstorm damage, plus magma storm damage, kind of traps him. It does a good amount. I switch back into Suicune, expecting the waterfall, but I forget that a lot of Gyarados carry Earthquake, which is neutrally effective to Suicune as well. I know next turn he'll be faster, but I'll be able to live through the Earthquake again with relative ease. So I go for the rest, which is a savior on this team. I kind of just let him kill himself with Life Orb plus Sandstorm. I rest it out, back to full HP. He realizes that he really can't touch this. Can't touch this. Okay, just kidding. Had to. Sandstorm rages the general. I go for the Sleep Talk. Get nothing. He sets up, meaning that he'll have a +1 Earthquake next turn. Doesn't really matter too much. And I get rest again. Sandstorm does a bit of damage, but then I'm back up to full HP. +1 Earthquake comes in. This admittedly doesn't do that much. It does about a third at a +1. So even if he attacks next turn, he'd kill himself, but I come out with the Sleep Talk Surf. So I pretty much just handled that Gyarados, which ultimately could have walled my team except for this Suicune quite well. Pretty much his Sandstorm did him in. Sandstorm damage plus Life Orb damage stacks up real fast. He goes into Sure I Can. I expect to live through this Thunderbolt, but I went for the Calm Mind for some reason. Not really sure. I didn't know if it would do that much, knowing it was non-stab and he's not choice spec'd anymore. But it mattered. I make a misplay there, but I don't run damage calcs as I play, so I can't always be sure. It's just something to learn now. You learn from your mistakes. I'm learning. 4th grade level, people. Let's get it started. Okay, Heatran comes in expecting the Thunderbolt. I know I can take that well, because this Heatran is special defensive bulky. I know that sounds weird, people. He's the Heat Trapper set on Smogon. Look it up if you're confused. I know he's choiced into Thunderbolt, so I just stay in, go for the Earth Power. And once I take out the Starmie, I'm pretty much set for the rest of this battle, because Starmie and Gyarados are one of the biggest counters to this team. Gyarados walls my Infernape. It just takes out a lot of things, especially once it gets that Dragon Dance boost, so they're really hard to handle at times. He pulls in Blissey. I go for the Explosion, knowing that Blissies don't have much for defense. What sucks is that this actually didn't kill it the whole way. It brings it down to like, I don't know, on a Blissey that's probably like 30 HP. But Sandstorm damage comes in and does him in. Again, another Pokemon that his own Sandstorm brings to an untimely end. So that's one reason you don't carry a Tyranitar on a team that doesn't benefit from it. It's a great Pokemon and all. I used to use one, but then I realized that, crap, I'm technically suiciding all my own Pokemon. He goes for the Hypnosis. I have no idea why he didn't go for a Stab Shadow Ball. He is faster. I think that would have done me in. Haven't run a damage calc on it, but I go for the Fire Blast. Take it out in one hit, because Gengars are frail as heck. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this style of editing,